everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Julie from Living Large on Lifetime, and today it's time for another WWWWJD. What would Weight Watcher Julie do? I actually have two questions for you guys today, and before we get started, I just want to remind you that although I am a Weight Watchers receptionist and I've actually been doing Weight Watchers for about 2.5 years and lost 40 pounds, this channel is in no way affiliated with or endorsed by Weight Watchers. So everything that is said here, this is my personal channel and my personal opinion. So let's jump into the questions, guys. The first question comes from Practically Imperfect Life. And she says, I was wondering how you would deal with being on Weight Watchers with a spouse that isn't. My spouse is supportive, but I don't want to end up cooking separate food for each of us. That would probably blow our budget aside from being annoying. I'm getting lots of new recipe ideas from videos, but I'd appreciate any advice you have on this issue. Well, guess what? My husband doesn't do Weight Watchers either, so I have been doing Weight Watchers this entire time with a spouse who isn't, and we've actually found ways to make it work. So my husband is actually very supportive as well, as you know if you watch my channel. So he has done a lot of the cooking, and although he does cook a lot of Weight Watchers friendly options, he always has an eye out for points, but he also really likes to eat food that is not Weight Watchers friendly. So as you know, you can eat anything on Weight Watchers, so you can choose to eat the same things as your spouse, but it definitely does make the program easier when you can choose lower points options and you get more bang for your buck. So let me share with you some of the things that have worked for us. Number one, I primarily eat all of my points in the evening, and that is for actually two specific reasons. Number one, it was initially because he was the one who was doing all of the cooking. So I wanted to leave the majority of my points on the table so I could be free to eat basically not whatever he made, but most of whatever he made. So I still do that now. I eat most of my points in the evenings. I eat very low points meals during the day. And now I use my points a lot for things I enjoy, like wine mostly and champagne. And it also leaves me available to eat what he's having if it's something that I choose to have. So sometimes he'll make something that is higher points and I don't have it, and I'll make something else for myself, or I'll eat what he's eating and then just have less wine or whatever. So you just have to kind of pick and choose and balance what sounds good to you and what's going to work for you. Now, if your husband doesn't cook, here's a couple of options you can do. Number one, I suggest looking for meals that you both would enjoy. For example, he may or may not like chicken or fish, but maybe choose a lot of chicken and fish options because those are obviously 0 points on Weight Watchers. Also eggs. There are a lot of entrees, a lot of delicious entrees that you can make with those options. So start with some of the lower points Weight Watchers options and then try to build a delicious meal out of it that you will both enjoy. It doesn't have to be diet food. If you don't term it that way, then maybe he won't think of it that way. And you can add a lot of great additions to chicken, fish, eggs that will make it taste delicious, like cheese, for example. You could use low-fat cheese or regular cheese. If you're using a 0 point item, if you're starting with a 0 point chicken, add a few points of cheese and he'll probably like that. So look for meals that you'll both enjoy, and then once you find those meals, write them down so you remember and you know, okay, that's a go-to meal. We can do this because we both like it. Number two, cook a portion of the meal that will work for both of you and then add separate sides. We do this a lot in our household. Eddie will sometimes cook up the protein meal, and then I'll have mine with vegetables or maybe some grits or something light, maybe a salad, and then he'll have his with a potato or fried food or whatever. So start with something that will work for both of you, perhaps the main entree or the main portion of the entree, and then add different sides that will make each person in the family happy. So at least you're not cooking two completely separate meals. Start with something that works for both of you. If you both like mashed potatoes, then start with mashed potatoes. Make a big old pot of mashed potatoes for both of you. You can add a vegetable and a lean protein, and he can add a hamburger. You know, so just start with something that you both like and that will work for both of your meal plans. You can also do a recipe makeover on a favorite meal. So I guarantee you that for as many fatty favorites and fatty comfort foods as there are out there, there are a million different lower fat recipes for those meals. Look on skinnytaste.com for some great makeover recipes. Also, Emily Bites has a lot of great, delicious recipes. And then also, if you have access to the Weight Watchers tracker, where you go to put in your food for the day, if you put in any kind of food item, like put in lasagna, I did this earlier today, put in lasagna, and then the first few items will be the most tracked items for that lasagna entry. But if you scroll down, you get a lot of great Weight Watchers recipes for lasagna. So try some new recipes. Try to make over one of your favorite dishes, something that both you and your husband enjoy, and just see where you can add in some lower points ingredients to make it lower overall in points, and then give it a try. He might like it, he might not, but you don't know unless you try. So it's going to be a lot of trying new foods and trying new recipes in your household, just so you can maybe find a few things that will work for both of you. But that's the name of the game. So for eating out, most restaurants will have an option available for you. It's very rare that I go to a restaurant nowadays and I can't find something to eat. Sometimes it's higher points than I want by like maybe 5 or 6. But if you plan ahead, you can definitely work that into your meal plan. As far as fast food, if your husband likes to eat fast food, mine does. And I actually don't eat fast food very much at all anymore. I just prefer, if I'm gonna pay money and go out, I'd rather sit down at a nice restaurant and relax and be waited on and enjoy a longer, more relaxing meal. But my husband does like fast food, and so when he eats his fast food, it's always when I'm at work. So he usually has his fast food fix at lunch. I'm not around, I don't have to see it, I don't have to make any choices, I don't have to smell it. So that's an option possibly if he still wants to eat fast food or eat things that you cannot. Have him do it when you're at work or not around, and then he can still splurge and you don't have to. Same thing for like snacks like candy bars, ice cream, potato chips, things that you don't really want in the house or don't want to have around. Having those things outside of the house when you're not around, I think that's going to help tremendously, and you're not cutting him back from having the things that he loves, and yet you don't have to be around it. So those are just some of the suggestions that have worked for Eddie and I. Hopefully you can incorporate some of those into your, at least your evening meals or your daily plan. If anybody else has any other suggestions, feel free to chime in below. It's absolutely possible to do Weight Watchers and live a healthy lifestyle with a spouse who isn't, who is either not living a healthy lifestyle or not doing Weight Watchers. So if you're determined to do it, you will find a way. Okay, second question comes from Charity Muse. I don't really know how to say your last name, Charity. Charity says, I'm 43 years old and 5'7" and I've been stuck at 131 on Weight Watchers for months, no matter what I do. So 2 weeks ago, I switched to the Beachbody 21-day fixed meal plan with color containers and got down to 125. I was so happy with what the scale said, but I really didn't feel like I looked any different. And now I'm miserable because it is so restrictive and I miss the freedom of Weight Watchers. However, I don't want the scale to go back up. So what would Julie do? This is like the #1 kind of catch-22 that dieters face, and this is why I don't ever want to be a dieter. The #1 thing that my Weight Watchers leader always says is never do anything to lose weight that you won't continue doing to keep it off. And that is so true, because you know what? Then it becomes a diet. This is total diet mentality. And this is what I love about Weight Watchers, is that it's not a diet. It's so livable and sustainable that it's a lifestyle that you can continue with without being miserable. So Charity, you said that you're miserable. Is it really worth maintaining that weight, that lower weight, if you're miserable? And especially if you said you don't feel like you look any different. I feel like you have two options here. You can either restrict even more to lose enough weight that you feel like you look different or look better in your mind, and you'll be more miserable. Second option is you can stop dieting stop dieting, Charity, and go back to living a healthy lifestyle that you can sustain. I'm not saying that the diet or the program that you're on is not healthy, but if it's so restrictive that you're feeling miserable, then it's definitely a diet in your mind. You can lose weight on any diet, but the key is long-term sustainability. It's always been the key for me, and you're finding out now that that's not easy. So you can also lose weight on Weight Watchers, and you can sustain the program for the long term, making it a lifestyle and not a diet, and the weight will stay off. So if you're not losing on Weight Watchers, then maybe your body is where it needs to be. I happen to know that 131 is the lower end of the healthy range for your height, because I'm the same weight and I'm actually trying for 130, which is also the lower end of my healthy range. So if you look good and you feel good and you're healthy, then your body may be exactly where it needs to be. So the question to ask yourself is, why do you want to weigh less? Is it to look better? Do you think that maybe if you were to exercise or do a different exercise, would that help your body look better? Or is it just a number in your head? I ask myself that a lot, and for me, I think it's a combination of both. So for me, my advice, I would definitely go back to Weight Watchers. I would go back to Weight Watchers as a long-term sustainable way of life. That is why I'm on Weight Watchers, and I will continue to be on Weight Watchers. But take a close look at the program. Take a look at every area of the program and see if there are changes that you can make to maybe just fine-tune a little bit more and possibly lose a couple more pounds. But again, it could be that your body is just where it needs to be. And then also in conjunction with that, with taking a look at the program again, starting like a newbie, starting fresh, following all the guidelines, I would also take a look at your exercise program, because if the situation is that you don't feel like you look the way you want to look, number one, we're all built to have specific body types. So maybe you know, definitely get a realistic picture of what your body should look like, and then perhaps you can fine-tune your exercise program to help your body achieve more muscle tone, and perhaps that's something more closer to what you're looking for. So, but absolutely, I understand the thrill of losing more weight, especially when you've been stuck at the same weight for months and months. I've been in the same range for a year. So I understand the excitement, but you said yourself it's miserable. So to me, that's absolutely a diet, and I have learned over the years, many diets, an eating disorder even, that it's just not worth the being miserable on a diet to sustain a weight. So Weight Watchers is all about sustainability and livability, and it's an absolute lifestyle that you can maintain. So maybe just take a look at how you're doing the program, maybe look at your exercise routine, and then see why you actually want to lose more weight. Maybe you're right exactly where you need to be. So that was a long-winded answer. Sorry about that. So that's all the questions I have for you guys today. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And I know there are a billion kids at the park today. There's tons of traffic behind me, so it's been a very distracting session. But thank you so much for watching. If anybody else has any more questions, please go ahead and put them down below. I will answer them in one of our upcoming WWWWJD videos. When the questions run out, so does the series. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who keeps posting questions and keeping this session alive. So bye guys, I will see you next time.